Hi all, my name is Stephanie, and today I have a quick prenatal yoga for the hips practice to share with you. I'm currently 24 weeks pregnant, but this practice is safe for all trimesters. You don't need any props, but if you have some blocks or a bolster that you might like to use, please feel free to do so. We're going to start in a comfortable seat, so come to a cross-legged position on the floor. On an inhale, bring the chest forward, open the chest, lift the gaze, coming into our seated cow pose. As you exhale, round the spine, drop the gaze towards the belly, and lean back on the hips. Cat pose. Again, inhale, open the chest, lift the gaze. And as you exhale, round the spine, drop the gaze towards baby and your belly. Continue moving through the seated cat-cow at your own pace. Inhaling to come forward, and exhaling as you round the spine and lean backwards. I encourage you to find some gentle hip circles as you move here. Perhaps inhaling as you circle the hips around to the left and come forward. And exhaling as you circle the hips around to the right, coming into your cat pose. You might close your eyes if that feels good. You also might smile, relaxing the muscles of the face and jaw. If you haven't already, switch directions with those hip circles. Continuing with your cat and cow, opening the spine, or moving the spine to warm it up, and awakening those hips. Take one more inhale here, and exhale, cat. We're coming back to a neutral spine. Keeping the right heel in, we're going to open our left leg out to the side, coming into our seated figure four. You might take a moment to move the muscles of the glutes out of the way, grounding yourself through your sits bones. You're going to have your hips squared off towards your toes, and the toes flex towards the ceiling. On an inhale, we're going to think about lifting and lengthening as we take the arms up. As we exhale, we're going to bend at the waist and come forward towards our toes. We're not focusing on bringing our knee towards our nose here, our nose towards our knee. We don't want to compress baby. We want to focus on keeping our spine long. How far forward you come here is going to depend on a couple of things. One, how big your belly is at this stage. Like I said, we don't want to compress baby, so we don't want to bend so far forward that baby starts to run out of room to move. It can also depend on how much flexibility you have in that left hamstring. The goal is to find some opening through the back of the left leg and your left hip while keeping your spine long. Make sure your gaze is soft, and then close your eyes. If you'd like, you could use blocks or a bolster to support yourself here. You could even bring a chair in front of you to rest your forehead on. Stay here for 3 more breaths. On every inhale, imagine sending all of that yummy oxygen down to baby, inflating your belly as large as you can. That's an easy way to check that baby is not compressed and has plenty of space to move. The next inhale, slowly walk the hands up, coming back into a straight spine. As you exhale, keeping the right knee bent, you're going to bend the left knee, coming into your 90-90 variation pose here. So you want your right knee bent, you want your left knee bent. Your hips are not going to be squared here. We're going to be slowly turning our hips to face that right shin. We're going to stay here for a few breaths. Again, on every inhale, we're thinking about lifting and lengthening, keeping the chest broad, making sure we're not further compressing our lungs. Baby is already doing plenty of that for us as the uterus grows and they begin to push up on our organs, reducing the amount of space we have to breathe. And then inhale, you might bring your attention and your awareness to any areas that feel tight. As you exhale, you might invite those areas to loosen, sinking a bit deeper into the pose. Again, keep your gaze soft or even close your eyes. Now you can stay here, or you can begin to straighten that back leg, bringing the knees to the mat, top of the foot to the mat, and coming into the full expression of pigeon. Your right shin, the goal is to get your right shin parallel with the short edge of the mat, but if it's not there today, that's fine. If you have a block, you might bring it under your right hip so that you can make sure your hips are squared off towards the short edge of your mat. Again, we're thinking about lifting and lengthening here. We're not compressing forward. We don't want to compress baby. If you have some blocks and you have the flexibility, you might come down onto your elbows on those blocks. You could also use a chair here as a place to rest, allowing you to lean forward a little bit. Otherwise, I encourage you to sit up tall, opening through your hip flexors, strengthening that low back. Pregnancy puts a lot of strain on the low back, so it can be great to do postures like this just to build some strength in that area. Stay here for a few more breaths. Again, make sure you smile, relaxing the muscles of the face, and finding some ease in the posture. On your next inhale, sink back onto that right glute. We're going to slowly come out of this pose, moving carefully to avoid injury. And just because we've got these big bellies, we don't do a lot of things fast. You might windshield wiper your feet here for a moment, taking that counter stretch. And when you're ready, bring the left heel in and send the right leg out long. Again, take a moment here to move all that junk out of the way, finding yourself grounding through the sits bones. Square your hips off, this time towards those right toes, which are flexed towards the ceiling. On an inhale, think about lifting and lengthening. As you exhale, fold forward. Again, we're trying to keep our back straight here. We're not rounding. Our goal is not to bring our nose to our knee. It is simply to find an opening through that right side body. How far forward we go is going to depend on how much flexibility we have in our right hamstring. Notice if you can feel any differences between this side and the left. It's also going to depend on how big baby is. So if you're still in your first trimester, you might be able to get a lot closer without compressing baby. And if you're in your third trimester, you might be up even higher than I am right now. You might close your eyes. And an inhale, send awareness to your right glute, your psoas, that right hamstring. And as you exhale, imagine those areas loosening up a bit more, allowing you to bend a little bit forward, a little bit further at the waist, coming a little bit deeper into the pose. From your inhales, imagine lifting and lengthening, keeping that chest open and broad. Begin to walk yourself back and out of the pose. We're going to come into that 90-90 variation on our left side. So again, keeping the left leg, left knee bent. We're going to bend the right knee as well. The hips will not be squared in this case. We're going to slowly turn them towards that left shin. Take a few moments here before we come into our full expression of pigeon. Again, on the inhale, think about opening that heart space, keeping our spine long. As you exhale, perhaps sink a little bit deeper into the pose. Square those hips a little bit more. If you came into pigeon on the other side, let's take that again. Again, trying to bring that left shin so that it's parallel with the short edge of the mat. We're going to slowly begin to straighten our right leg, bringing our right knee and the top of our right foot to the mat. On our inhales, we're going to think about lifting and lengthening, breathing in to that right hip flexor and that left hip. If your belly is not too large, you might come down onto your elbows, or you might use a block or a bolster to find a way to bend forward here. You can also bring a block or a blanket under that left glute to help support you. Make sure your hips are squared with the short edge of the mat and that your hips and baby are pointing in the same direction. Stay here for 2 more breaths. And begin to slowly come out of the posture, rolling onto that left glute, bringing the heels back together. A windshield wipe of the feet. Again, taking that bit of a counter stretch. This time, bring both heels in. We're going to come into our butterfly pose. Again, we want to make sure we're sitting up on the sits bone here with our spine straight and long. Imagine chin over the shoulders, shoulders over the hips. Your feet may be in all the way. Knees may or may not be touching the floor. I encourage you to bring your knees or your feet out a little bit wider than you might if you weren't pregnant, just leaving room for baby and making sure that we can keep our pelvis in a neutral position. Let's inhale, take a deep breath here, and exhale slowly. Again, inhale here, think about lifting and lengthening. As you exhale, you might bend forward, again, bending at the waist here, not rounding our spine, or you might stay upright, whatever feels best for you today. If you lean forward, you're going to get a bit of a deeper hip opener. When you stay upright, you're going to focus a little bit more on building strength in the low back. Wherever you are, let's take 3 more deep breaths together, inhaling through the nose, and exhaling through the mouth. 2 more times, inhale through the nose, and exhale through the mouth. Inhale last time through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, maybe smile gently. Close your eyes, bat them open. Bring those knees in together. We're going to come down on our left side for Shavasana. You might bring a hand under your ear, under your head for support. Your legs can be bent or straight, whatever feels right for you today. Take a moment to notice how you feel. Do your hips feel a little bit less tight? Is baby moving, or have they been stilled by your slow, deep breathing? I'm going to leave you here, but stay in Shavasana for as long as time allows. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope to see you again. Namaste.